Welcome to Restart at Any Age. This is Susan Douglas, coming to you from the studio of Chez Serendip in beautiful Scotts Valley. Chez Serendip is a 6-acre creative sanctuary in the Santa Cruz Mountains, where artists, healers, builders, and dreamers gather to create a more beautiful world. You can find them on their website, Chez, C-H-E-Z, Serendip, SERENDIP.com. And they are on Instagram at Chez Serendip. So, today I'm joined by Alesa Lightbourne, the real-life badass grandma. She's been a political refugee who sailed the Caribbean with a newborn, lived with Bedouins in Saudi Arabia, moved to Kurdish Iraq at 58 on a dare, reconnected with a long-lost love on Facebook, and cared for her husband through a terminal illness. Now an award-winning author, she's on a mission to show women of every age how to live with courage, wonder, and awe. Alesa, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So, I was not being rude calling you badass grandma, and we will get to that later. But firstly, let's look at the entirety of your life. You lived what sounds like 10 lives in one. You were born and raised in Carmel, earned a BA in anthropology from UC Santa Cruz, and an MA in creative writing from the University of Washington, and then spent decades teaching and leading in universities all over the world. Looking back, when did you first realize your life wasn't going to follow a conventional path?
Oh gosh, what a question. Never. There was never a realization. It was just, oh, this looks like an adventure.
Yes.
Let's go try it.
Okay.
And then there was another one.
Yeah.
And there was another one. I never set out to be badass or anything like that. It's just, life is so interesting. And when we're curious, there are a million things to go investigate.
Life just happens when you're planning other things, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, wow. So, in 1976, let's go back a little bit. 1976, you and your Jamaican husband became political refugees as Jamaica teetered towards civil war. So, with a tiny baby, you sailed the entire Caribbean looking for a safe place to land and ended up in the Virgin Islands. So, what was the scariest or most liberating moment of that journey? And what did it teach you about starting over?
Well, the scariest was when we fled Jamaica. We had to sneak out because you had to get the government to stamp your passport if you wanted to change any money out. So we snuck out under the eyes of the Coast Guard. I had nightmares all the time while we were sailing, and for years afterwards, of the baby falling overseas,
overboard.
Yeah, and then me diving down and never being able to reach his hand.
Oh,
so I was terrified.
So yeah, that was anxiety just weeping through, right? Yeah.
It was, and then we left everything. All we had was the sailboat. By the time we reached the Virgin Islands, we were down to $100 and out of water and with a broken stay on the mast. So, I mean, we were really pretty desperate. But it worked out. He found a job. We started all over again. We had another baby there. Yeah, but it was scary. I mean, there was no backup. We had no insurance, nothing. And this was back before there were marinas all over the Caribbean.
Right.
We were just dropping the hook next to a beach and staying there and just searching for a place that we could live.
Right. So what did you do about things like food and water,
Well, we would stop at different islands and buy local food. I actually published one of my first articles was in Cruising World, how to provision your boat in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had one, how to sail with a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because each island back then had different things. They didn't import stuff.
Right.
So we just did what we could. We'd fill up water at the dock. We didn't have money to stay in a marina if there was one.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So you just literally just got on your boat and left. So what was happening actually in Jamaica then?
The government was veering towards communism.
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister, Michael Manley, was really good friends with Castro.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were Cuban doctors, advisors, all kinds of Cubans flooding the island, and it really looked like it was going to go the way that Cuba had. So the entire middle class was leaving.
Right.
In fact, Manley even told the middle class, if you don't like what I'm doing, there are 5 flights a day. You can leave. And then the government imposed a retroactive income tax on the whole middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't pay it, they bailiffed your house.
Wow.
Meaning they came and took everything that you owned. And they just made up the number that you owed.
Yeah.
And they'd stopped imports, so that it was really difficult at that point. There were tanks in the streets. My next door neighbor was raped, hanging out her laundry.
Oh my God.
Someone else in our neighborhood was shot having a drink on the patio. It was really tough.
Mm.
We had a pool, but I wasn't allowed to use it unless my husband guarded me with a gun.
Really? Wow.
And he padlocked me in the house.
Yes.
With burglar bars whenever he left.
Oh.
For my safety.
Oh.
Yeah. It was tough.
Oh, it was. That's intense.
And I was teaching down in a very rough part of town.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of in the trenches.
Yes.
Teaching in the government school.
Yeah. But you had your baby.
Yes.
You had
a baby.
Yeah.
And then so he was then about 4 months old, 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So we just packed up the boat with
Right.
as much as we could and snuck out in the night.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder you have bad dreams. I mean, goodness.
Yeah.
That terrify anybody. So you ended up where now?
We ended up in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed there for 3 years. And then I saw an ad for Aramco, an oil company in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking for engineers.
Yeah.
And I typed up his resume and he sent it in and we moved to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
For 5 years.
I remember Aramco because I used to live in Bahrain.
Yeah, you knew that very well.
Yes.
And that was before the causeway, by the way.
Yes.
And we were in a remote outpost camp.
Yeah.
Called Udalia.
Yeah.
It was almost an hour's drive to the nearest Arab town. We were way out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Aramco housed people in a compound.
Well, they did. We were in a compound.
Oh, it was a compound.
Yeah. But it was it was the smallest one at that point.
Right
on the edge of the empty quarter.
Yes.
So it was a 2.5-hour drive to Dhahran, the main camp.
Right. Oh, I see. It's
and
a
the
subsidiary
airport.
of. I see.
We were way out there.
Yeah. Yeah, Aramco used to come over and play softball against the company that my ex-husband was with, actually.
Yep. They hired a lot of guys for their softball ability.
Yes. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they did win, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, my gosh, those were the days. So what did you do about provisions out in that outpost?
We had a commissary.
Yeah.
And a school.
Mm-hmm.
A swimming pool. Tennis courts. But anything that you wanted that was not in the commissary, you had to go to the Arab town.
Right.
And that meant wearing the full abaya.
Ah.
We didn't cover our face, but everything else.
So you had to have one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. Yes.
Wore it for 5 years.
Yeah, in Bahrain we didn't. Yeah. Just well covered, but not certainly nearby.
Well, you were more liberated over there.
Right.
You had alcohol.
Yes, that's true.
Legal alcohol.
Yes. I know people were known for brewing their own over there.
Well, the Aramco houses came with a still room.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And you could order all the parts for a still.
Yeah.
So from shop stock. So from Aramco's shop stock. So,
right.
Yeah, it was really
What
something.
did they used to call it? Flash or something? What did they call it? Flash?
Siddiqui. my friend, in Arabic.
Yes, okay.
Which was
Siddiqui,
homemade.
Yes.
Siddiqui. It was, homemade vodka.
Yes. Quite potent.
Oh, yeah, nasty stuff. So the chemical engineers made the best.
Oh, right.
Of course.
Best recipes.
Yeah. But, Jamaicans really love their alcohol. So he made wine, beer, and owned part of a still with somebody else.
Right. Okay. And it's all kept under the wire, of course.
Oh, yeah, because the company had keys to everybody's house. So they could come in and check.
Oh, geez. So how did people cope with that if they did?
It was all very quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And how long again were you there?
5 years.
5 years. Yeah. So you must have been kind of happy to leave?
My children by then were 7 and 9.
Yeah.
My 2 boys. And they didn't want to leave. They loved it there.
Well, expatriate life can be fun.
Really fun.
Yeah,
you travel
children,
all the time. And it was a safe little community where everybody knew them. You couldn't get lost. It was nice for kids. And that's where I started writing because I was bored out of my mind.
Right, yeah.
I needed something to do.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 years was enough.
Yes, I would imagine so. So what did you write in that time?
Well, I dropped out of Stitch and Bitch and the Tea Party circuit, which is what the wives do mostly.
Right.
And I wrote articles for magazines, a lot of stories in magazines. I wrote my first book, a youth book, a YA, that did not get published, but that's how I kept myself intellectually alive.
Right, right.
But my dream was always to go back to college because I missed that intellectual stimulation.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
Most of the wives read romances. Nobody was into literature, really.
Yeah.
I wanted to be around thinkers again.
Right, yeah. A bit stifling. But you interacted with Bedouin tribes at that point?
Yeah, no, my Jamaican husband did not like Arabs.
Okay.
But I learned Arabic the best that I could, and so he would take me and my boys out into the desert, and we would find a tent, and he'd drop us off for the day.
Yeah.
And we'd stay there all day long until he came and picked us up.
Yeah.
And these were women who had never seen a Westerner.
Really?
Yeah. And much less ever met one. And those were high points of that whole stay there. So I didn't actually live with them.
No.
I would just spend a day.
Yes.
But the whole day.
Yes. So did you learn their cuisine and things like that?
It's pretty basic. I mean, they're eating rice, dates, and camel milk yogurt most of the time.
Right.
Unless they go into town for something, but
meat or something.
Yeah, well, they have camels and sheep.
Right, right. Yeah.
But I didn't want them to kill they would offer to kill a sheep to feed me, and I didn't want them to do that.
No, no, yeah.
So I usually brought them food.
I
brought them Pepsis and you know, things that would be a big treat.
Right,
to them.
Yeah, I bet they love Pepsi.
Oh, they loved it. It was sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they would always want to look at my clothes because those Bedouins, they had 1 or 2 dresses. That was all. And on each holiday, twice a year, one for the Eid, one for with the Hajj, they would go into town and get a new dress.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they had 1 spare dress. There's no water to wash with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and their underwear were all handmade. So they would want to look at my bra and my slip. And I took to bringing a half slip with elastic at the top to give to them because they just thought underwear were so beautiful, machine-made ones.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The things you don't even consider, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had completely different questions than the Saudi ladies who lived in the camp.
Right.
Who always wanted to know, how do you Western women stay so thin? And tell me about birth control.
Really?
Yeah, because they had no access to birth control unless their husbands took them to the doctor. And then they'd go into the room with the doctor, the husband would. So you couldn't really ask about birth control. But by the fourth baby, by the time they were about 22, they'd had it.
Yeah, I get it.
It was a hard life.
Right. So what did they do about things like washing and water and, all the things we take for granted?
Well, the ones that I visited had a water truck provided by the government.
Mm-hmm.
The government was trying to support Bedouin culture, sort of like we would preserve our cowboy ethic, in a way.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep some Bedouins alive, but the oases are drying up, and it's a really hard life out there.
Yeah.
So they would give them a water truck, and I don't know what else they gave them. But they didn't wash. You wash in sand, basically. And then it's just a tent. The men would leave so that I could be alone with the women, because that's decent.
Yeah, that's traditional, isn't it? Yes, all the women gather.
And then my Arabic wasn't that good, so I could make it through a couple of hours of basic conversation, like, here are my children, showing pictures, and here they are. But then what we would do, we would just lie holding hands on a mat or the little carpet that they had. And these were not nice carpets. These were like from China or something.
Right.
And just hold hands, and we'd listen to the wind in the tent.
Wow.
That's what you do. You just sit.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, how did that impact you?
It taught me so much about how you can connect with people at a very basic level.
Yes.
It taught me that there's kind of this women's club in the world, especially among mothers. Once you have a child, you have so much in common with each other.
Yeah.
So, we could just do the mother thing. But it also showed me how simple their life was.
Yeah.
They didn't have any belongings to speak of.
No TVs.
No radio.
No radio, no.
Nothing. There's nothing to do except, wait till the sheep and the goats come back, or the camels. And that's it.
Yeah.
So you just...
Lives you can't even imagine living in America.
Oh. You become sensitive just to the presence of another person.
Yeah.
You're enjoying their presence.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything or do anything.
Isn't that
and they would always
wonderful?
ask me to come back.
Yes.
I'd never know where to find them because they move around all the time.
Yes.
No, it was life-changing.
Wow. It would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, you had that experience. So where did you go from there? Where did you go from there?
I came back to America. I went back to graduate school.
Okay, so that dream came true.
That dream came true. I went through a nasty divorce where I became penniless.
Oh,
I had 2 kids.
Oh, dear.
So I had to find a job overnight.
Yeah.
I had no American experience. I didn't have a teaching credential. All my experience was overseas.
Right.
So I started out being a temp.
Yeah.
At $7.50 an hour. And then from there, I rose up to being the manager of a PR department. And then I started my own company writing for companies. And that did really well. And then I started teaching college.
Right.
I lived on an island where there was a Navy base.
Yeah.
And they needed people who could teach English and writing. And I had a degree in English, a master's.
Right.
So that's where I started teaching.
Yes. And which island was this?
That was Whidbey Island.
And where is that?
That's north of Seattle.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up teaching for 3 different universities there. And then one day, my son, he was 18 and out of high school, said...
Oh, so time has passed now.
Oh, a lot of years have passed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my youngest said, Mom, if you could do anything in the world, what would it be? I teach overseas again. Because, being an expat,
yeah,
it gets in your blood.
It does. Yeah.
And it's not that every day is fun or easy, but it's an adventure.
It is.
You're living life to the hilt every single day.
That's true. Yep.
So he dared me. He said, go do it. So I sent one Friday night, I clicked and sent my resume to 5 different places that I couldn't have found on the map.
Yeah.
And that night, I got a call from Kurdish Iraq saying, we want to interview you right now. I was in my pajamas.
Yes.
Well, okay. And that Monday, I had an offer letter in my inbox. And 8 weeks later, I was in Kurdish Iraq.
For goodness sake. So let's back up. You all through those years, you found the island to live on.
Yeah, I lived near Seattle for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then moved to Whidbey Island.
Right. And your boys were then growing up.
Yeah.
Going to school and all the things that boys do.
The 2 big boys were grown up and doing their own thing. And then I had a teenager.
Yes.
So he graduated high school.
Right. And then he was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then Mom takes off.
Mom took off. Yeah.
And they were happy for you, I would assume, if they suggested. Oh, well, no, it was a dare. They most probably didn't believe you'd do that.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't think I would. Not so fast either.
Yes.
I just went.
But, I mean, there wasn't Zoom then, was there? How did they get hold of you? Just a telephone?
Yeah, they called me on the phone.
Yeah.
And said, we want to do an interview now.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't Zoom, but it was some other earlier technology like that they had.
Yeah.
And no, it was a phone interview. I'm sorry.
Phone, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we just talked on the phone and they
Well, good job it was a phone interview for you in your pajamas.
Well, I was shocked out of my mind. It hadn't been even 4 or 5 hours since I clicked send.
That's insane.
I know.
I mean, how did that populate so fast to get to Kurdish Iraq?
I have no idea. It was just one of the 5 that I sent out blindly.
Yeah.
But now that experience was really transforming because the school I did not like very much. It was very restrictive.
Yeah.
And so I would I bought a bicycle, and women don't ride bikes in the Muslim world, as you know.
Right.
But I had to get out of the campus.
Yeah.
So I bought a bike, and in my free time, I would ride my bike through the villages nearby.
Yeah.
There was one less than a mile away. I would bike there, and pretty soon the kids started coming out and wanted to talk with me and practice English. And they introduced me to a woman who was 19 learning English.
Okay.
And she and her widow mother were living in the village. And we became very close friends. And so I learned a lot about Kurdish village life for women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the book, The Kurdish Bike.
Right.
When I got back.
That is quite...
The pivotal experience of that was I was bankrupted yet again. I went online and discovered that my ex-husband had, how can I put this? Wells Fargo had wiped out my bank account for some credit cards that he had maxed out without telling me.
Oh.
That I'd co-signed on.
Oh, boy.
And so overnight I was penniless in America. I owned a house.
Yes.
I had a car, but I had no money in the bank.
Yeah.
So the village women found out about this.
Yeah.
We were close friends.
Yeah. Because obviously you were earning within your capacity there, right?
Yeah, but not much.
No.
Yeah. And so one of the widow said, well, you don't have to worry because the rest of your life you have a home with me.
Oh.
You have food and shelter.
How sweet.
This was a widow living on a pension of less than $200 a month.
Yeah.
And she offered to care for me forever.
Oh.
And that just showed me where real value is.
Yes.
That these people were so giving, so caring. It was amazing.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a bit about your book here, because, I mean, you did cover some very serious subjects in this book. So please kind of relate the story of the book.
Okay. Well, I love to swim in the ocean.
Yeah.
And as you know, here in Santa Cruz, it's cold most of the year.
Yeah.
So one day I was swimming in the ocean in the winter and got tumbled by a wave coming out. So I'm kind of crawling up the sand like Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah.
And there are these teenage boys on the beach. So they watch me climb out. As I'm toweling off, they say, "Well, lady, you were out there a really long time, like half an hour."
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah," because I do this all the time.
Right.
And they say, "But you don't even have a wetsuit on."
Oh, you're talking about Badass Grandma now.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes. We are going to go there.
Okay.
But I was talking about the book in Turkey.
Oh, in Kurdish Iraq.
In Kurdish Iraq, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. Okay.
How did I finish that story?
Okay, you finished Badass Grandma.
Okay, so the boys look at me in a haze of dope smoke.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're bundled up in blankets and parkas and things. And they go, "How old are you?" I said, "Well, I'm 73, and I have 8 grandchildren." And they just shake their head and they said, "Dude, you're badass, Grandma."
That's wonderful.
I thought that might be an insult, so I went home and Googled it. I didn't know.
But they meant a compliment.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Badass is good.
Well, to them, especially if you're stoned,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's what started that book.
Okay, yes. And now that is the latest release book, and we will talk a little bit more about that. But let's still
the Kurdish bike.
Stay in, the Kurdish bike.
Okay. So what I did was I wrote up my experiences as a teacher and in the village.
Yeah.
And everything in the book was true. But some really bad things happened while I was there. 3 different women were killed in honor killings. Women I knew. That's where your father, your brother, your uncle kills you because you did something they didn't like.
Yes.
Like one of the women, she received a text on her phone in the kitchen, and her husband took the phone and didn't recognize the text who it was from, and assumed she was having an affair.
Okay.
And he went and got his gun and shot her in the back. Oh. This was a woman I knew.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also they practiced female genital mutilation in the village.
Yes.
At that point, it was 95% of the women in the village were cut.
Oh.
So I wanted to write about that.
Yes.
About how the women assumed I was cut.
Oh.
Because they thought all women on the planet were cut.
Got it, that.
And when they found out that I wasn't, my hands were unclean. So they wouldn't let me in the kitchen.
Really?
I couldn't cook. Yeah. You see, if you're not cut, you can't find a husband because your hands are dirty from lust.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Because you can have an orgasm.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then there were a lot of really bad things.
Yes.
Suicide. So I didn't want to put people's real names in the book because the police could come after them. Yeah. So I changed names, and then it was more like a memoir the first time. And then my beta readers all said, it doesn't hang together. It's like real life. Mm-hmm. Real life doesn't end. It doesn't have a narrative arc. They said, no, you need to fix that, and you have too many characters. So fix the plot and combine characters. So I did that. Yeah. But still, everything in there happened, just not to the same people. Right. I had to combine things to make it a satisfying novel.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I did.
That's way you can get it out there. Yeah, I get that.
And then the proceeds supported that family for 10 years.
Well done. Well done.
And then people contacted me because there are no novels written about Kurdish village women. No. Especially from a Western viewpoint. So people started contacting me saying, can I please translate your book? Yeah. So that's how it was translated into 4 other languages.
Great.
One woman in Iran loved it, so she contacted me. She translated it, but it was banned by the government. There.
Yes.
They sent me a list of things I would have to change, and I'd have to rewrite the whole book if I wanted to publish it. Because they said it was not complementary to Islam.
Right. But it still sold 50,000 copies?
Yeah, I'm still getting royalties off of that thing.
Wow.
And still speaking to book clubs.
Yes. Yes.
So that book, it wasn't selling really well. I didn't write it to sell. I wrote it to educate the world about the Kurds.
Right.
Who at that point were front page news.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to get the word out there that people would have sympathy for the Kurds.
Right.
But once it found its niche, which was a book club book, it took off. Like it went from 50 sales a month to 1 month 1,000.
Wow.
Because of the book club thing.
Yes.
So what I would do is I would go to book clubs, show a slideshow of all the real people.
Right.
Say what happened to them.
Yes.
And then dress up 2 women in Kurdish outfits.
Oh, wow.
So it was really fun.
So they really got the flavor of what you were talking about in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after I'd done it, a lot of times I made a video that the book clubs could download. But with the promise of not distributing it, because now with face recognition, anybody could see who those people were and go after them.
Yeah, yeah.
But then even I was on Kurdish TV.
Oh, really?
The Voice of America, Kurdistan.
Yeah.
They interviewed me here and put the book on because they wanted Kurds to see what Americans thought of Kurds.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yes. Wow. Gosh, what an experience that must have been. Now, I mean, with everything going on in the world right now, well, how do you feel about that, knowing this area of the world?
I'm totally ripped up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
My Arabic teacher was from Gaza. A lot of my friends were Lebanese. The Kurds are, I mean, our administration was talking about enlisting Kurds to fight against the government in Iran.
Yeah.
It's worrisome. And I talk with the people in the Kurdish book often.
Yes.
Like maybe every week or 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so Iranian drones are bombing the brand new American embassy, which is only 2 miles from the village.
Oh. So
their windows are getting broken all the time, and it's horrible. But they're very supportive of the U.S.
Yeah.
They want the regime overturned.
Over with. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not over with at this point.
Oh, no.
Whatever we hear in the news.
No, that and ISIS is rising. ISIS is big again in Syria, and it's rising in Iraq. It's very big in Afghanistan. So it was ISIS. It was the Kurds who were the boots on the ground for us, for the U.S., that triumphed over ISIS.
Right.
We would never have done that without the Kurds.
Mm.
But then, they assumed that the U.S. would back them for having their own country. That's their grand dream, is always to have their own country.
Right.
Instead of being split between 4 different countries.
Right, right.
And we didn't come through again. We've done that over and over and over.
Mm.
The poor Kurds. It's like Lucy and the football. They do what we tell them, and then, they fought against Iran during the Iran-Iraq War, which we prompted them to do, and then that caused Saddam to do the Al-Anfal, the genocide against them.
Right.
Then they fought ISIS. They're always doing what we tell them. They have bases, our bases there.
Wow, gosh. Yes, this must be very harsh for you, having lived that experience. Very harsh.
I get moved to tears often.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's talk about something a little bit more cheerful now.
Oh, okay. Good idea.
Tell me about the note that you gave as a promise years ago.
Oh, man. Okay. So when I was in college, there was a guy across the quad that liked me a lot. And he would, but I had a boyfriend all through college that I was very loyal to. But this guy really liked me and was very persistent.
Right.
And I liked him. He was a wonderful guy, but I had another boyfriend. Right. So I gave him a rain check that promised him undying love sometime in the future.
Just covering your bases.
Well, no, it was really a Dear John note.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was like, you're a nice guy, but just leave me alone.
Right, right. Yeah.
Okay. So when Facebook started, he lived in Silicon Valley, and we both joined Facebook.
Right.
But I never did anything with it. But when I got to Iraq, I had time on my hands. So I went onto Facebook. I looked him up, and someone had posted, "Rich, we're all praying for you and hope you recover." I went, oh, that sounds serious.
Yeah.
So I posted back, are you okay? What's going on? And he immediately wrote back to me and said, yeah, I had open heart surgery. I'm recovering nicely. Where are you, and are you single?
He was persistent, wasn't he?
He was.
Through everything.
So, through everything.
Yeah.
So we started getting on, maybe it was FaceTime Messenger or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Where you can see each other.
We saw each other. And we sort of became an item, long distance. But after the first Facebook thing, he said, let's get on email instead. It's more private.
Right.
And he sent me an attachment. And I opened up the attachment, and I just started kind of screaming and laughing because it was the rain check.
Oh.
He had kept it for 40 years.
Wow, that guy really liked you.
Through 2 marriages. He sent it to me and said, okay, girl, time to pay up. He said, let's make it work this time.
Yes. And you were single? And
I was
free?
single. Yep. And he had enough corporate know-how to help me through that time there teaching.
Yes.
Would have been really hard without his moral support.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he helped me deal with the administration there and just get through it all. But he was a single dad to a teenage daughter who worshipped the ground he walked on.
Yeah.
And she was not ready for another woman on the scene. So I got an offer for a job in Singapore to be a founding professor at a business college. I had no business teaching at a business school.
Okay.
Now, I don't have a business degree.
Right.
I mean, I'd run my little business, but that was a one-person business.
Yeah, yeah.
But they wanted someone who had worked in the corporate world, which I had so many clients in the corporate world.
Right.
And who could teach.
Yeah.
So I was a founding professor there. And after the first year, the dean quit. And I was their choice, so I became the dean.
Extraordinary.
But it worked out really well for both me and my youngest son, the one who dared me.
Right.
Because he said, oh, Mom, I can take care of myself alone in America. But he did not. He fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
He dropped out of college, no longer worked, and was selling pot out of my car.
Oh.
My car.
Yes.
When it was illegal.
Yes.
So when I was hired at this university, I told him that he needed to come and be at my college.
Right, right.
I didn't tell him beforehand that you hang if they catch you with a joint.
Oh, my God, is that right?
It's true, yeah.
Right.
So he came. He was one of only 2 Americans in the whole college.
Yeah.
But he got a business degree in international finance and is now a finance guy in Sweden.
Wow.
So it turned him into an expat too.
Yes.
So it worked out really well for both of us while we waited for the daughter to kind of grow up.
Right. And she did.
And she did.
And you married him.
I did.
Yeah.
And shortly after we were married, he had a massive stroke at CrossFit. And he was paralyzed on one side, but bedridden. I cared for him in bed for 2.5 years.
Yes. Oh, my goodness.
I was 6'4" and couldn't even roll over. So that was a big job.
So, did he used to come back and forth to Singapore?
He came 8 times.
8 times. Okay. Yeah.
And we traveled all over Southeast Asia. It was great.
Right. Yeah. So you had that time together.
We did.
Before that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had, I think, 2 years before the stroke. So
yes.
It worked out fine. But the daughter just came and spent last weekend with me.
Oh, really?
So she could run the Big Sur Marathon in his honor.
Yes.
So it worked out.
Yeah. Well, you had those precious years together. So.
We did. Yeah. And we lived them fully.
And that's the thing, yeah. Just don't take it for granted. Just get out there and do it, right?
That's the whole point, right, of being badass. Because what I learned from that stroke of his was my life changed in one instant.
Yes.
Completely.
Yes, of course it would. Yes.
Of course, his life changed too, but you just don't know what's going to happen in the next minute.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Or what life is going to throw into your lap.
No, absolutely not. So after this, you were in the ocean and some guys on for smoking call you badass grandma, and that plants a seed to write a book.
Did.
Yes.
It just kind of piqued my curiosity. Like I thought, oh, I like this. I like being called a badass grandma.
Yes.
And then I started to think, well, what does that mean? I had no idea. So the book itself was a journey.
Right.
I had no outline. I didn't think of selling it or marketing it at all. It was just, I was out in the hot tub one night and something just said, you've got to write that book now.
Yes.
Okay. Roger, I'll do it.
Yeah, you listened to yourself, obviously.
I did.
Yes.
I'd put it off for a while because I'd been sick for a long time. But I finally had the energy. Thought, okay, well, let me see where this goes. So each morning I would wake up all excited, like, oh boy, I get to write the book and find out what it's going to be today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
marvelous. And you had some stories in the book of people that you knew that you related their stories to. Yes.
So my criteria for the book was, I don't want it to be all about me at all. I want it to be about an idea going back to something that I did in one of my college classes.
Yeah.
I posed this question to the whole class. What is something that's out of your comfort zone?
Right.
Not dangerous, but still out of your comfort zone that you have feared for a long time. Go do it and report back to the class next week.
Right.
And it was our best class ever. So that I wanted to incorporate that with the badass idea that every one of those students did something badass.
Yes.
Whatever it was. For some of them, it was emotional.
Yes.
For one of them, he spent the weekend with his uncle dumpster diving. His uncle was homeless. Another woman got a tattoo. They thought of the most creative things. And that kind of inspired me for this book.
Yeah.
To urge people to think of something that's itching away at them that they want to do. And do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Because we don't know what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So then I started thinking, well, who do I think is badass?
Right.
So it was friends who joined the Peace Corps in their 50s or 60s. Women who volunteer in the prison for 20 years. But it was also women who forgave something hard, who were caregivers. Okay, I was a caregiver for 2.5 years, but my friends were for 7 and 14 years under way worse conditions.
Yeah.
I wanted to honor them. I wanted to show how much courage it takes to persevere.
Yeah.
To be resilient when life throws you lemons.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I just started interviewing people. But I didn't want to interview them for just being brave and audacious. I wanted it to be like an inner transformation where something clicked and they moved into a bigger aspect of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, when I'm out there in the ocean, once I get past the fear, and the cold is always terrifying, but once you relax and get used to it, the pelicans start swooping over your head, and you're in this moment of awe. You think, I'm alive.
Yeah.
In fact, I talk to my late husband and say, look, Rich, I'm alive. I'm alive for both of us. I wanted to capture moments where women approach that.
Yeah.
Where we live kind of in that divine presence.
Yes.
That all religions talk about.
Right.
You know, Zen, the Sufis, the Christian mystics.
Yes.
Everybody. It's all about your ego dropping away.
Yes.
And what is our ego but fear?
Mm-hmm.
Really? So when you're stepping out of fear, you're stepping in the direction of spiritual maturity, being more evolved. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want this to be a woo-woo book.
Right.
So I wanted women who had done that in lots of different ways, like discovering aloha spirit, or forgiving a grudge that they'd held, or for me, calling up the girl who had bullied me in 7th and 8th grades and just asking her what that was all about. That was more terrifying to me than jumping out of an airplane.
And you've jumped out of it?
No.
No,
and I'm not going to either.
I was going to say,
no.
Is that one thing I've overlooked here?
No. No, I would love to learn to surf, but my balance is no good. And
Yeah, but oh my goodness, yes. Well, wow. So why did she become a bully to you? Did she explain herself?
She said she was going through a really hard time. Her mom had just had a new baby girl, so she wasn't the adored little girl anymore. She said she doesn't know, but she'd always felt bad about it. Well, first she asked me, is this part of a 12-step program?
Yeah.
Where you have to confront old things.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. She said, no, I've always felt bad and I've always wanted to apologize. So will you please forgive me? Huh. Amazing.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. Woohoo. It was, that was a badass moment for both of us.
Yes.
Her and me.
Yes. Absolutely. I get that. Well, talking of book clubs, I have a book club that I'm in, and it was my choice. And I'd just recently spoken to you, so I said, okay, let's read Badass Grandma.
Oh, right.
So our book club read it.
Okay.
And
have you discussed it yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And different women got different things, obviously. One decided that she hadn't been touring enough out in the world, and as she was now retiring, she'd just turned 60. This is what she's going to do on your writings.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yes. She said, I haven't lived enough experiences out in the world. No, I'm going to start doing that now.
Oh,
and it's perfect
wonderful.
timing for her, cause, as I say, because she just retired. And then another one said, I've learned that it's okay to say no.
Good.
Yes, she took that away from it.
Okay, I worried about a couple of those stories about not doing things.
Yes.
That takes courage too.
Mm.
To just say, I don't have a tattoo and I'm never going to get one.
Right.
Or I've never eaten raw monkey brains and I don't plan to. You know?
Yes.
That's at our age we get to do that.
That's right. Yes. We become sages.
Well, exactly, and elders.
And elders, yes.
So I was hoping that the book would morph along with my understanding of what is badass, from doing things where people would say, oh, wow,
yes,
to inner things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I took away from it about the subject of forgiveness.
Oh,
yes,
good.
I had to ruminate a lot over that. And it was a good point you brought up there in the book.
Holding a grudge just holds us back.
Yes.
And we don't forgive for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We do it to liberate ourselves.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
But that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about getting all trembly.
Yes. So, I mean, with all the experiences you've had in the world, I mean, goodness, very varied experiences. What would be your core advice to somebody who has stepped back, like this lady I was describing in the book club, and just thought, gosh, can I get off the sofa and do something? Or, what do I need to kind of study to make myself more diverse? What would you say to these people?
Take a baby step.
Mm.
Go eat at a restaurant whose food you've never tried.
Right.
If you're afraid of eating alone in a restaurant, go do that.
Mm.
Find some little thing that makes your heart pound faster, that you kind of want to do, but you just haven't done, and that gives you confidence.
Yeah.
Or try to do that every day.
Right.
Choose
a little something.
Read a genre that you don't read.
Yeah.
If you only watch PBS, maybe watch Fox News for a night.
Right.
Think of
if
something.
You have to.
Yeah. Well, think of something that makes you a little larger in the way you want.
Yes.
Not in the way somebody else is telling you. If your grandchildren tell you to dye your hair blue,
mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah. But I might do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Just I wanted just to poke people's minds open a
right.
little bit more.
Right.
So they have more fun, more joy in life. And so they experience that moment of awe. If we're on the sofa, we don't feel awe.
Mm-hmm.
If we're doing the same old things.
Yeah.
But when we surprise ourselves, we go, wow.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yes.
And I was afraid of it.
Yes.
If you're afraid to drive through San Francisco by yourself,
mm-hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
If you've never taken BART, go do it. There are millions of things. They have a saying in Jamaica, if not, why not?
Yeah.
If you haven't done it yet,
yeah.
why not give it a try?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't do it again.
And it's never too late, right?
Never.
Mm. Oh,
I want the book to be a gentle kick in the butt.
Yes.
For people.
Yeah. And it's available on Amazon, I know.
It's on Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not in bookstores yet, but
right.
with my other book, I barely sold any in bookstores. Mm-hmm. It's really Amazon. Right. It's on Kindle. I'm looking at doing an audiobook and a large print because it's mostly older people who will be reading this.
Yeah.
And I just beg everybody who reads it to write a review on Amazon. And if you're on Goodreads, there too. Amazon owns Goodreads. So you can just copy the same one and put it there. But books like this, it's word of mouth and reviews.
Yeah. And book clubs.
Yeah. And
spreading the word.
And a lot of people are into book clubs. But I spoke to a book club on 2 nights ago. And what they did was they had a potluck with grandma's recipes.
Oh.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet it was.
And what I loved about it, I didn't say much. I listened to them because I want the book to elicit deep discussions from people.
Yes.
And that's what it did.
Yes.
They went way deeper than a normal book club discussion, talking about their real fears, their real hopes.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yeah, very nice. Well, it is that kind of book. It opens up wide discussion, I think. It really does.
That's the point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good luck with it. And,
Thank you.
And people can find both your books, as you just said, on Amazon. And you have a website, or are you developing a website? You were telling me?
I've almost finished a website called Badass Grandmas, plural.
Right. Yeah.
Because so many people who read the book say, oh, I wish you'd included this person or that person.
Yes.
Well, I only included people I knew really well.
Yeah.
No famous people, nothing like that.
Mm.
So I thought, I would love to keep honoring people doing proud, courageous things.
Mm.
So I've started this website where people can submit a story.
Okay.
About themselves or somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It has 2 stories on it right now, but as of today, the form to submit your story doesn't work. But hopefully by this afternoon, I'll figure that out.
Right.
And I'm wanting it to be a library of stories where you can honor your next door neighbor and say, what you did, driving Meals on Wheels was really cool. I want to tell the world about that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the website takes off to kind of spread the word, to allow other people to honor women they admire.
Yeah. Great. Yes. And grow and flourish. And anybody can access it when it's a website. That's wonderful.
Well, kind of like the Moth Story Hour.
Yes.
Except this is small. It's a little homegrown thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, imagine if you were on the Moth, how proud you would be.
Right.
Well, you could be on Badass Grandma.
Yes. Yeah.
Easy.
Well, Alesa, it's a joy to meet you.
Oh, you too.
And good luck with whatever comes in the future, which I know will be most probably a lot still.
Oh, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank
really,
you.
Really appreciate it.
It's really fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What an extraordinary conversation that was with Alesa. When I reflect on everything we talked about, from surviving political turmoil in Jamaica under Manley, sailing the Caribbean as refugees with a newborn, holding hands with Bedouin women in the Saudi desert, to moving to Kurdish Iraq at 58 on a dare, writing 2 books, building new friendships, and later leading programs in Singapore. Her life is a masterclass in possibility. She's shown us that no matter her age, no matter how stuck we all feel, it's never too late to pivot, to say yes to the dare, and to create a richer, bolder next chapter. Thank you, Alesa, for reminding every listener that our most transformative adventures can still be ahead of us. Thank you for listening today. If you like what you have heard, please state it or contact me if you have any comments. I would be willing and ready to look for your interaction. Thank you so much for listening to Restart at Any Age. This is Susan Douglas. Playing you out with Madame Rose Sylvie. I'm
Acabei de alcançar o mar. Esse é o lugar pra se adequar. É bom seu ar só pra relaxar. Vou caminhar, depois nadar. Pegar o barco e mergulhar. Minhas feridas vão cicatrizar. Não tenho medo, basta sonhar. Tem arte em quase todo